I'll go ahead and call the school board meeting into session at this time. And board members, as you know, we'll go through the agenda as usual. If there's an item that you would like to pause, please let me know. Superintendent, same thing for you, sir. All right, of course, we've called the meeting to order and we move into section 2. That would be the approval of the agenda. We do have some agenda changes, and as customary, let me read those before we ask for a motion. 2.1, changes to the agenda. Superintendent's Human Resources recommendations deleted item 9.3, request to advertise a public hearing for the adoption of revised school board policy 07-03, employment conditions for educational support personnel. So at this juncture, I'm asking for a motion to approve the agenda.
I'll move we approve.
Motion by Mr. Destin.
I'll second.
Second by Dr. Kelly. Any discussion? Hearing or seeing none, let's vote. All in favor? Motion carries 5-0. That now takes us to section 3, recognitions. And so we'll do these in the order that they're presented on the agenda. And we have quite a crowd here tonight, and so normally, as is customary, after we finish something like this, we allow folks to depart and maybe go to dinner or whatever it is they may have to do. And so I will do that recess as we get to section 6. So we'll go through all of these and we'll look at these in order. So 3.1, recognition of Bruner Middle School Beta Club 2018-2019 State Beta Club Quiz Bowl Junior Champions and Maya Babel Bruner Middle School Beta Club 2018-2019 State Beta Club Language Arts 7th Grade Champion, presented by Superintendent Marcus Chambers. Mr. Chambers.
Thank you, sir. And Mr. Destin, if you would come join me, if you would, please. And also Dr. Hudson, Ms. Moody, and Ms. Briggs, if you would join me as well. Okay. So first of all, very excited to be here before you right now, and you look back and you see that such a fantastic crowd, and to be here to recognize students for their hard work, I think it's something that is truly phenomenal. Bruner Middle School does a great job with their beta program, and we're here to recognize some students, but I do want to just say really quickly, so 2018-19 State Beta Club Quiz Bowl Junior Champions, and I was doing a little bit of research of what that meant, so I'm going to say for the crowd as well. So this competition consists of individually written exams, so that's something that the students have to do first, and the subjects and topics that are covered are science, ELA, math, history, music, movies, faith, and art. And the interesting piece is the convention, it takes the 4th highest team scores from the written exam, and Bruner had the 2nd highest. But then when the competition continued and went on, they answered every question without fail, and it took them to the finals. And when they got to the finals against Emerald Coast Middle School, they had the quickest and most accurate responses and only gave Emerald Coast Middle School one chance to answer a question. So I think that's pretty phenomenal as well.
They win.
So we are going to honor each of you here today, and we're going to most importantly honor the students, and we have some recognition for them. Do you want to call out kids' names? All right.
Anna Baldwin. And she's out sick. Bella Crescione. Evangeline Cumming. Jill Johnson. And Jerome J.J. Michaud.
start right here and we'll go this way. So y'all look that way.
Thank you.
All right. Ready?
I can see your face from my vantage point. All right.
All right, we have another award as well, and we also have up with us also one of the sponsors, Miss Leaf, as well. The next award board is for the State Beta Club Language Arts 7th grade champion, and this is something near and dear to my heart, so 7th grade ELA, that's good stuff. And I'm just going to read this right here. So Maya Babel had to take a written exam in 7th grade ELA. She competed against roughly 20 other students and came in first place for the entire state. The exam consists of current 7th grade ELA standards, and if ELA standards, if that does not get you pumped up, I do not know what will do it. So if Maya Babel will come up, and let's recognize her.
No, because I still couldn't see her.
And there is one other bit of business to take care of with Bruner Middle School, and this is a proclamation for junior 2018-19 Junior Champions Beta Club Quiz Bowl, and it says, congratulations to Bruner Middle School Beta Club members Jerome McLeod, Jill Johnson, Anna Baldwin, Evangeline Cumming, and Bella Crisoni. Sponsor Stacy Leith, co-sponsor April Briggs, and Katie Moody, and Principal Dr. Cynthia Hudson on your outstanding accomplishment. So congratulations.
Very good.
Congratulations.
All right, Superintendent, I think you might just want to stay there, and we'll head on to 3.2, which is the recognition of 2018 renewed National Board Certified Teachers presented by Superintendent Marcus Chambers. Superintendent.
All right, thank you. And Ms. Ivanchek, if you would come join me. And I will say, as Ms. Ivanchek is coming up, this is a very prestigious award for our teachers, something that is truly honorable, and there's a lot of hard work and effort that goes into this. So my wife, she went through this process a number of years back, so there's a lot that goes into it, and it's a fantastic recognition. And Ms. Ivanchek, I know you have some words for this outstanding occasion.
I do. Thank you, Superintendent Chambers, and my fellow board members. I'm excited tonight to present these distinguished teachers to you. I'd like to say that I really know what they've gone through, because if you don't mind me saying, you see around my neck, I still hold a National Board Certificate. That's still good. I was proud to be a part of that group. It is a very challenging program. It supersedes the state certification. It is the highest credential a teacher can hold in our country. And so it's quite an honor to bring these teachers up. These teachers initially got this certification in 2008 and then went through the process again. The process can take up to 2 years to finish. It does also have a financial cost at the very beginning that they have to put out. They have to also show that they be videotaped doing lessons in a variety of settings. They have to show they use technology in their teaching. They submit student work. But the most important part is that they don't tell just what they did, but why they chose to do that. The reflection piece is very big. So tonight, I'd like to introduce to you these teachers who have now recertified. They are 5 of the 34 we have in our district. Florida actually has the notoriety of being the second largest state with 13,000 National Board teachers out of the 122,000 in the country. So we're going to start in alphabetical by school. We're going to start with Baker School. And if I could have Andrea Brown come up. Ms. Brown is National Board Certified in Early and Middle Childhood Literacy, Reading, Language Arts. She is currently a Title I Math grades 3 through 5 and middle school intensive reading teacher at Baker, where she has taught for 21 years. And her colleague is Elizabeth Pizzotti. Come on up, Elizabeth. Elizabeth is in her 30th year teaching at Baker, where she is a Title I reading remediation teacher, and she's also National Board Certified in Early and Middle Childhood Literacy, Reading, Language Arts. Joining them tonight is Baker Principal, Mr. Mike Martello. He's here to recognize them as well. Mr. Martello. So if you ladies can stand there, we'll get a group picture here. Okay? All right. So, next, we have, all right, we're going to have teacher Yolanda Nunn from Shoal River Middle School. Ms. Nunn? Ms. Nunn has taught in the district for 14 years, the last 2 as a school guidance counselor at Shoal River. Her National Board certification is in Middle Childhood Generalist. And tonight, her assistant principal from Shoal River Middle School, Ashley Miller, is here to support her as well. From Southside Primary School, we have Miss Linda Dukes. Miss Dukes? Ms. Dukes has taught in the district for 33 years, the last 10 at Southside Primary as an exceptional education pre-kindergarten teacher. Her National Board certification is in Exceptional Needs Specialist Early Childhood through Young Adulthood. Southside Primary Principal, Mrs. Deborah Hand, is also here with Ms. Dukes tonight. We also have Jacqueline Whittle from Walker Elementary. Ms. Whittle is a 5th grade math and science teacher where she has taught the last 6 years. She has taught a total of 19 years in our district and is National Board Certified in Middle Childhood Generalist. These are our 5 National Board renewed teachers. I want to thank all of them for their dedication to the teaching profession and to our students and congratulate them on achieving this distinguished teaching credential. Thank you.
All right, Mr. Chambers, if you'd like to stay there just for a moment, I'll run through these next couple of agenda items. Section 4, visitors, we're showing none tonight. Section 5, public comment. Ms. Mary, I don't have any blue cards there, do I? All right, so we'll go straight to Section 6, that's your cue, 6.1, appointment of principal, Okaloosa STEM Academy, recommended by Superintendent Marcus Chambers for approval. Mr. Chambers.
So very honored to be up here. I'm going to read a short bio about Ms. Martin. And if I'll wait for Ms. Martin to come up in 1 second. I'm going to read a short bio first. So Cherie Martin is a distinguished educator and a lifelong learner with 20 years of experience in education. Her dedication for student growth and excellence is a passionate commitment inspired by her early experiences working with students with special needs. Before serving as the assistant principal of Destin Elementary in 2014, Ms. Martin was a digital educator at Riverside Elementary in Crestview. Prior to this, she was an innovative educator in Orlando, where she was recognized by her peers as Teacher of the Year. After recently receiving a specialist degree in curriculum and instruction from the University of West Florida, Ms. Martin continued her journey towards a doctorate degree and remains an avid researcher of high-impact instructional practices. She earned a master's degree in educational leadership from the University of West Florida, a bachelor's degree in elementary education from the University of New Orleans, and an associate's degree in interpreting for the deaf from Delgado Community College of New Orleans. Ms. Martin believes her educational background and experiences have developed her philosophy of education. She believes all students can excel, and our educational system will provide them with the knowledge and skills to be successful in our community and our world. Ms. Martin looks forward to continuing to serve among the distinguished leaders and educators of Okaloosa County Schools. Before you, Ms. Martin.
All right, thank you. So we have a recommendation by the superintendent for the appointment of the principal, so I'm looking for a motion.
I'll move it.
Motion by Dr. Kelly,
I'll second it.
second by Mr. Bryant. Any discussion? Seeing none, let's vote. All in favor? Motion carries 5-0. Congratulations.
I do have just a couple of words. I am beyond excited to take this leap into the principal role. I appreciate your trust in me into this leadership role. I'd like to give a special thanks to a few people. Mr. Chambers, our superintendent, for his guidance and development of my leadership practices. To my immediate mentors, Mr. Genezo, our time together has been short, but it's been great having another nerd in the office. To Mr. Gardner, he is a man of integrity. He is a stand-up leader, and I'll forever be asking myself, what would Al do? To Ms. Stein, who is a brilliant educator, for giving me a chance. For Ms. Matz, who continues to be a great mentor, a friend, and who has become like family to me. I thank you again to the board for entrusting me. I thank you to Ms. Gates, Ms. Slightborn, Mr. Palmer for their guidance and encouragement. My DES family, those guys will always hold a special place in my heart. I've got lifelong relationships developed there, forever memories that I'll hold dearly. To my own family, for the patience, understanding. We know this can be a tough job as a school leader. And Mom, I love you. Thank you for believing in me. I look forward in the coming weeks to working with Miss Avery, and especially working with the distinguished educators at STEM Academy. Go Stingers! Sarah, Tammy? She's like that.
Absolutely.
I see your face all over.
Oh, wait, I'll do it with stuff.
Congratulations again. All right, folks, that takes us through section 6. I'll take a brief recess for 2 minutes. We're recessed. All right, so we'll reconvene the school board meeting. So we are at section 7, that would be committee and staff reports. Of course, we covered these items in the workshop, and of course, they're indicated as workshop only, 7.1, 7.2, 7.3, and 7.4. However, Mr. Chambers, is there a particular item here that you'd like to discuss further?
Yes, sir. Thank you. I would like Ms. Branscombe to come up if she would. And this is actually CTE month, Career and Technical Education month. And there's a lot that has gone on this month, but more importantly, there's a lot that's going on in Okaloosa County just with CTE. And one of the things I've been very proud of over the course of the last 6 weeks is Ms. Branscombe has been a phenomenal leader with the CTE. And one of the things she talked about was how do we continue to take CTE to the next level, which the good thing is she has great answers for. So I'm very proud of that. And so, Ms. Branscombe.
Thank you, Mr. Chambers. Good evening, and as Mr. Chambers said, February is CTE month, which is a time to recognize the achievements and accomplishments of the CTE students, teachers, and programs. And I would like to thank Mr. Chambers and the board for allowing me to speak to you tonight about what we're doing in our CTE programs and to brag on all of our teachers and our students. In our career and technical education programs, we prepare students to design the next airplane, program the next Google, repair your computerized car, save your life, prepare your next meal, find the cure for cancer, keep your home cooled or heated, turn your lights on in your home, cut your hair, and many more. As you can see by the program success and points of interest that I passed out tonight, the CTE teachers across the district have been busy so far this year. That's not the end of it. We've got a lot more to do and a lot more to achieve, but that's just a start. But I just wanted to announce a few so the audience can hear some of the things that we've been doing. Earlier this year, Crestview High School students, EMR students, and the robotics students had the opportunity to participate in the Da Vinci surgical robot presentation. And there was the Dr. Darren, let me see his last name, Darren Mason, which is a former CTE graduate from Crestview High School, was the one presenting the robot. It was pretty amazing. The kids got to do hands-on manipulation of the surgical robot. I've never seen anything like that. It was very interesting. Journey Washington High, a Footwall Beach High School student, she has been nominated for the Dean Kamen Award for the first robotics program, which is a very prestigious award for a young lady in our robotics program. The web programming students across the district participated in the app challenge for Congressman Matt Gaetz for his district. All the students that appeared at the presentation in Pensacola were from Okaloosa County. Niceville High School students won, and they will be leaving in May and will be attending the reception hosted by the Congress up in Washington, D.C. on the 9th of May. So they'll be attending that. Crestview High School automotive students had a chance of a lifetime, and they got to go to the SEMA show, which is a premier automotive show in Las Vegas, along with their teacher. What an experience for those students. As you can see on the list, there's many more things that we've been doing this year so far. I want to give you a few CTE facts because this is pretty impressive. We have 6,623 seats. That doesn't necessarily mean students, but seats in our CTE programs that are filled. It's pretty amazing. We have 24 programs that are offered across the district. 2,150 certifications were earned last year. That equates to about $1,083,000 in CAPE funding that was received by our district. That's by high school and middle school students. Since 2007, we've earned $6.6 million in CAPE certification funding. That's a lot of money. That is approximately 11,568 industry certifications. Wow. We have 127 CTE courses. Out of those 127, 67% of our courses are honor weight or higher. So we have 50 courses that are honor weight, and we have 35 that are AP weighted credit. Last year, we created the CTE Advisory Committee and have had tremendous support from industry and business leaders throughout our community. Tonight, I would like to introduce you to a couple of them. Bert Little, he is our newbie. He's our president of our advisory council, our leadership team, our chairman, should I say. Yes. And he just took this position last month. And then Gerald Horton is our secretary. We have BJ Mitchell. She is our vice chair. She's out with pneumonia. She'd be here tonight. Linda Dugan, who is a counselor at Footwalk Beach High School. She's our education advocate, and she's on our leadership team. And David Haynes with Precision Measurement is our industry advocate. And we have great support from all of our members. We meet monthly, and we plan on things that we're going to be trying to achieve and accomplish in our CTE programs. I've asked them to both speak if they have something to say, but
We're good.
Bert was afraid he'd pass out, and Ms. Horton said she does well with 17-year-olds and younger.
Well, Chairman, now's your chance because it's live streamed.
So the advisor committee and leadership team have been instrumental in assisting the CTE department in guiding changes that industry needs for our programs. We have just gotten started, but we have a lot of things to accomplish. Our district is blessed to have district leadership who supports our programs. That's all of you. And you work hard to promote our programs. We are also very fortunate to have teachers that work so hard. They have the innovation and the passion to inspire students to do better and to be more. They are behind the success of every one of our programs in the classroom and in the CTE competitive arena. Thank you for allowing me to share our successes and what we're doing in our programs, and I look forward to sharing more with you in the future.
Well,
Do you have any questions?
Well, board members, colleagues, anything?
Fantastic.
Yeah,
So exciting.
Yeah, I will just say, the other day I was up at Laurel Hill School and we were talking beforehand.
Right.
But even at one of our smaller schools, we're offering these opportunities up there with agriculture, with construction. So it's really cool just to see how these students are progressing. I had a board member from Escambia County stop by the last week, and we went into Crestview High School to show off the CTE programs. Now, he didn't have any hair, so we couldn't do the cosmetology, but he was really impressed with our culinary arts, our medical. So great job. Great
Thank
job
you.
what's going on there.
We have a lot of things going on, and Mr. Chambers can attest to the things that we're working on. We were very fortunate last week to go to Tallahassee and meet some of our legislators and just appreciate the support that they're giving us and the things that we have hopefully coming down the pipe soon. We'll share more of those successes with you as we go on.
I'd just like to say that going back as far as, was it 2008 or 9?
Yes, ma'am.
When I was on the board of Valparaiso, a commissioner there, and it was determined that we needed a new website. The first thing I did was I went to April and we came up with a competition for her students to create a website for Valparaiso, and that's still the city's
Yes.
website today that one of her students created.
I brag on that all the time.
You did an excellent job, so
Thank you.
the tradition just continues and just grows under your leadership. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you.
Great.
Thank both of you. All right, so that takes us through item 7.4. Moving on to section 8, that will be the consent agenda. Of course, we've already gone over all of these items in our workshop. So I'm looking for a motion to approve the consent agenda.
Chairman, I do have a question.
Yes, sir.
8.5, which is the budget amendment, we've got an addendum later today.
All right.
And if possible, Ms. Scanlon can tell us now, or we could pull it and discuss just if there's anything significant.
Okay, how about let's go ahead and pull in 8.5 and moving into discussion.
Okay.
And so when we get to discussion, then maybe we can just cover it then and handle it separately. Is that
Sounds good.
agreeable?
In that case, I'll make a motion to approve the consent agenda without 8.5, which will be moved to discussion.
All right, so motion to
second
move 8.5 to discussion by Mr. Destin, second by Ms. Zavanchek. Any further discussion? Seeing none, let's vote in terms of the motion to move it. Okay, motion passes 5.0. So now we need to approve the rest of the consent agenda.
So moved.
Motion by Mr. Destin to approve the rest of the consent agenda. Need a second? Second by Mr. Bryant. Any discussion? Seeing or hearing none, let's vote. All in favor? Motion carries 5-0. All right. So let's slide on down now to Superintendent's Human Resources recommendations, and folks, help me remember 10.1 that we go to 8.5. All right, recommendations, 9.1, employees on administrative leave, presented by Mrs. Lindsay Maxey, Program Director, Human Resources. That's an information item. 9.2, deferred retirement option program, presented by Mrs. Lindsay Maxey, Program Director, Human Resources. That also is an information item. 9.3 deleted. Request to advertise a public hearing for adoption of revised School Board Policy 07-03, Employment Conditions for Educational Support Personnel, presented by Ms. Lindsay Maxey, Program Director, Human Resources, and recommended by the Superintendent for approval. I need a motion.
So moved.
Motion by Mr. Bryant,
Second.
second by Ms. Evancheck. Any discussion? Hearing or seeing none, let's vote. All in favor? Motion carries 5-0. 9.4, request to amend position classifications presented by Ms. Lindsay Maxey, Program Director, Human Resources, and recommended by the Superintendent for approval. Looking for a motion.
So moved.
Motion by Mr. Destin,
I'll second.
second by Dr. Kelly. Any discussion? Seeing none, let's vote. All in favor? Motion carries 5-0. 9.5, personnel recommendations presented by Ms. Lindsay Maxey, Program Director, Human Resources, and recommended by the Superintendent for approval. Looking for a motion.
I'll move.
Motion by Dr. Kelly,
Second.
second by Mr. Bryan. Any discussion? Seeing none, let's vote. All in favor? Motion carries 5-0. 9.6, employment separations presented by Ms. Lindsay Maxey, Program Director, Human Resources, and recommended by the Superintendent for approval. Need a motion.
I'll move we approve.
Yes, sir.
Mr. Chairman, under that item, if you'll just note for the record, under the retirement category, there is a revised recommendation for employee 110041.
Excellent, very good. Noted, Mr. McInnes. All right, so looking, we have a motion, I believe, by Mr. Destin, is that right? We have a second? Need a second?
Second.
Second by Mr. Bryant. Any discussion? Seeing none, let's vote. All in favor? Motion carries 5-0. 9.7, employee transfers presented by Ms. Lindsay Maxey, Program Director, Human Resources, and recommended by the Superintendent for approval. Need a motion.
I move we approve it.
Motion by Ms. Evancheck.
Second.
Second by Mr. Destin. Any discussion? Seeing none, let's vote. All in favor? Motion carries 5-0. 9.8, reinstatement reimbursement of sick leave due to line of duty illness, injury, medical examination, presented by Ms. Lindsay Maxey, Program Director, Human Resources, and recommended by the Superintendent for approval. Looking for a motion.
I'll move.
Motion by Dr. Kelly. Need a second.
Second.
Mr. Destin seconds. Any discussion? Seeing none, let's vote. All in favor? Motion carries 5-0. 9.9, leave without pay, presented by Ms. Lindsay Maxey, Program Director, Human Resources, and recommended by the Superintendent for approval. Need a motion.
So moved.
Motion by Mr. Destin.
Second.
Second by Mr. Bryant. Any discussion? Seeing none, let's vote. All in favor? Motion carries 5-0. All right, moving on to the next section, we're going to do discussion, and we'll go back to item 8.5. And that was one that we moved from consent, and 8.5, if you go back up, board members, reads Budget Amendment Number 5, Fiscal Year 2018-2019, presented by Ms. Rita Scallon, Chief Financial Officer, and recommended by the Superintendent for approval. So, Mr. Destin, sir, if there's a question.
Just question, that anything significant in this addendum we got later today and in the budget amendment in general?
Okay, what you received today was somehow inadvertently, I don't know how it happened,
Okay.
the attachment that usually is attached to the budget amendment was not there as I was reviewing things this afternoon, and I noticed that. So that is what you received.
I went along with it. Gotcha.
Now, as far as items that may be significant, as you can see on the agenda sheet, you have your general fund, and it shows a decrease in the general fund of $6.3 million. Approximately $6.2 million of that is related to FTE. And of that amount, $2 million is attributable to McKay scholarships, and that has been budgeted, and the $4.2 million is the remainder is attributable to a decrease in FTE. And I think I spoke with each one of you because it was a large amount, to explain to you that was related to FTE, and that we in February, if we are up with FTE, then we will take that money and replenish the reserves that we moved the money from to cover those decreases.
Well, Ms. Scallon, could just for the public's benefit, would you discuss what the McKay scholarships are as far as that revenue leaving the school district?
Okay, McKay scholarships, it's a scholarship program that was started, and it was named after a particular senator that was instrumental in getting that those scholarships legislated. And so what happens is that parents can elect to take their students and place them in other educational institutions. And then when they do that, then they apply for a McKay Scholarship. The FTE still shows under the school district when it's first projected. And so then once we know how many people have gone to other places, then they reduce our revenue by that amount. And then they pay those institutions directly.
Very good. Excellent explanation. So I just thought that the public might be interested to know where that $2 million went okay, and how that happened. Any other questions or comments, board members?
And then the only other item is that you'll see your capital outlay. It's about $1.1 million increase, and that was attributable to the safety grant that we received from the state. So other than those two items, everything else was minimal.
Okay. Chairman,
Yes, sir.
in the 7 years I've been here, I've not seen this shortage on the FTAs come up before, and I know, Mr. Chambers, you've inherited this, but I'm looking very forward to you figuring out how we can not let that happen again.
And
sir.
that
Thank
was
you.
going through my mind too, just with projections and the methodology and
All right.
how we retain those numbers, or getting a better grip on how we do that, how we manage that.
Well, let's have some discussion then for the public's benefit about projections. And projections are exactly what they sound like. Projections are a guess, hopefully an educated guess, maybe even more than an educated guess, an accurate guess, of how many students we believe we're going to have next year. Right?
Correct.
Okay. So it's an educated guess. And normally, our educated guess is pretty much on the money, I think. But this time, the record reflects that the reality is that our guess was exactly what it was, a guess. And we missed it by, how many students? 400?
It was about 500 FTE.
About 500, okay. And so the consequence of that is we do that in advance, correct? We project how many we're going to have, and then the thinking is that's how much money that we'll receive from the state for us to budget. And so that's exactly what happened. We budgeted based on having these, I think you said 500 additional students.
And just to mention, that's why a school district always needs FTE reserves, because you know, you
Exactly.
cannot,
It's a
you
guess.
don't have a crystal ball, and you do not know every year, and that's why it is so important to have FTE reserves to be able to absorb
And I so
any
appreciate you
fluctuations.
saying that.
And appreciate her knowledge of
Absolutely.
accounting for
That
school
we
boards.
have the reserve to cover the difference, if you will, in what happens with a projection that's done a year ahead.
Absolutely.
Right, I agree. Thank you for
Yeah.
saying
And
that.
I want to commend Ms. Scanlon, because without her conservative
Yep.
overseeing of what we've been doing for the last 6 or 7 years that I've been here, then we would not have had those reserves. So she's done a good job.
And Mr. Destin, I appreciate your remarks also regarding the measures that the superintendent has taken to, as someone already said, a situation that you inherited, the measures you've taken to remedy or hopefully make our guests more accurate in the future. Okay? Anything else, colleagues?
I will move that we approve that agenda item at this point.
Motion by Mr. Destin, looking for a second.
I'll second.
Second by Dr. Kelly. Any discussion? Hearing and seeing none, let's vote. All in favor? Motion carries 5-0. All right, item 8.6, we've already done that. We've approved all those items, so let's slide on down now. We've done section 10. We are now, Mr. Destin, to section 11, construction program owners representatives business, 11.1. Any status report, Mr. Destin, that you'd like to share tonight?
Our status is we are moving forward on the projects that are under 11.1. A number of, seems like we're always fixing roofs and air conditioners, and we also have an item on some security upgrades.
Excellent, excellent. Anything else that you have, Mr. Destin, on that? That it?
No, I think that'll cover
Okay.
it.
All right, very good. All right, so item 11.2, and of course, we talked about these board members in our workshop, but 11.2, authorization for a professional services agreement from Faithful and Gould for price validation for program number 6, task order number 1, Edge Elementary School, Crestview High School, STEM Academy roof replacement project presented by Dr. Smith, Specialist, Facilities Planning and Maintenance, and recommended by the superintendent. Need a motion?
So moved.
Motion by Mr. Destin.
Second.
Second by Mr. Bryant. Any discussion? All right, let's vote. All in favor? Motion carries 5-0. 11.3, authorization for a professional services agreement from Faithful and Gould for price validation for program number 6, task order number 2, district-wide school security upgrade projects, phase 1, presented by Dr. Smith, Specialist, Facilities Planning and Maintenance, and recommended by the superintendent. Need a motion?
So moved.
Motion by Mr. Destin.
Second.
Second by Mr. Bryant. Any discussion? Hearing or seeing none, let's vote. All in favor? Motion carries 5-0. 11.4, scope modification for 2 TPM program number 6, task order number 2, pre-GMP district-wide school security upgrade project phase 1, presented by Dr. Smith, Specialist, Facilities Planning and Maintenance, recommended by the superintendent. Need a motion?
So moved.
Motion by Mr. Destin.
Second.
Second by Mr. Bryant. Any discussion? Seeing none, let's vote. All in favor? Motion carries 5-0. All right, Section 12 is information technology. There's no business there. Section 13, Mr. Attorney, your business, sir.
One item, Mr. Chairman, the district's insurance broker, Fitbit, has made a request through Mr. Frake's office to have the board authorize them to retain Attorney Frank Bozeman with the firm of Quinteros, Presto, Wood, and Boyer. They do workers' compensation defense work, and they work with Fitbit, and they would like your authority for them to use them in handling some of the workers' comp defense matters we have. Fitbit pays those bills directly, but they still wanted the board's approval for them to go to that firm.
So you need a motion, sir?
Yes, sir, please.
Need a motion, board members?
So moved.
Motion by Mr. Bryant.
Second.
Second by Mr. Destin. Any discussion? Seeing none, let's vote. All in favor? Motion carries 5-0.
That's all I have, Mr. Chairman.
All right, thank you. Superintendent, sir, your business.
All right, so I just have a couple of things. I shared a lot of information at the board workshop on Thursday, so it's going to shift just a little bit. And I do want to say, so it's amazing when you think about the great things that are occurring in our county. This past week, when you think of things like archery, you don't always think about archery. And archery is something that we do very well in this school district. Meigs Middle School and Shalimar Elementary, both were #1 in the state in archery. And if you really think back, probably 5 or 6 years ago, there was Shalimar Elementary doing archery. And now, due to the leadership of the PE teacher there, we have archery in just a number of schools across the district and doing phenomenally well. So I just wanted to share that. I think that's great. Also, so lately, so you look around on social media and you see a lot of our former students who are doing extremely well, whether that's in athletics or whether that's now in the business world. So it's just amazing when you think about what happens out of this district and the remarkable students that we create. Just want to say it's just fantastic to see the success that's occurring. And the last thing I want to say is on the teacher and ed support side, so it's also been amazing that we've had a number of employees reach out and say they've received advanced degrees. So whether it's ed support getting a degree, whether it's our teachers who are getting advanced degrees, I think it's remarkable when you think about the work that goes on throughout a school day and the time and the effort of that, and then while they're working to get these advanced degrees. I just think that's fantastic. So just a shout out to all of our employees who are working hard not only during the day but getting their advanced degrees.
Excellent. Thank you, sir. I remember the first time our PE teacher came to me and said they wanted to do archery. I thought I was going to faint.
Yes, sir.
But after she explained it and took me out there and showed me how they did it, I was okay with it.
Yes, sir.
But anyway, sorry I couldn't help
They
it.
didn't want to put the apple on your head?
Well, I would have been called porcupine, I'm sure. All right, board members, it's your turn. So, Ms. Evancheck, I'll start with you tonight.
Oh, well, thank you, sir. Okay. Well, first of all, the other night, Mr. Bryant and I were over at Silver Sands for their student art show, and it is always so, just wonderful to see what those students can do. It was a lot of fun. We got to see their art, a little entertainment for us, and it was a great time. And I have to say that as board members, we're busy, and that's a great thing because there is so much going on in this district with students and activities. We're just kind of going from one to the other, and that's a good way to be because we have so much going. Speaking of that, this Friday is Read Across America Day, and for those of you who've been around know that's Dr. Seuss Day, and several of us will be going out to schools to read, which is always one of the best things that we get to do, to get out there and to be in the schools and work with those students. One more thing I'd like to do is to do a little shout out to a group called Food for Thought. This organization provides backpacks to our students on the weekends to take home the food and everything. They supply 3,300 students in our district, and over this semester they'll pack those bags up. It'll count 56,000 backpacks. So I want to thank them for doing that because many of our students who are on free or reduced lunch, when they leave on the weekend, they don't have that opportunity. So this organization fills that gap, and I wanted to shout out to them tonight and thank them for all they do to help us. So thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Evancheck. Dr. Kelly?
Well, I also was going to mention Dr. Theodore Geisel Day, or Dr. Seuss Day, and we'll be reading too on Friday. Such fun. But I also wanted to mention to the superintendent that I'm grateful that I know Lindsay Maxey has put out this week both ads for Assistant Superintendents of Curriculum and Instruction and for Assistant Superintendent of HR, because I really believe that that doesn't need to be a corrigent deal led by one person, a corrigent position. I think that we do a greater service to the schools and to those employed in the school district when we have two separate people, two separate entities. And so I was glad to see it divided again. So I think that's the best way for us to go. I'm not a believer that when you have two departments that are so critical, mission critical to this district, that it's a good thing to have them melded into one person. And I'm not either, and since we can't talk about this in any other forum, I'm also not in favor of granting big supplements to people who volunteer to do that. So I really appreciate that you put that out there as two separate assistant superintendents, because those are two mission-critical departments, I believe. And lastly, I want to brag on the principals who have sent in submissions for their Peggy Gorday Bruner Awards. We have some phenomenal students vying for those scholarships and for the other scholarships available too. It was really difficult, but here are the ballots if you'll pass those over to Mary. Thank you so much, and congratulations to all the students whose names were submitted by their principals and their parents. They did a phenomenal job. So that's it.
Very good. Thank you, Dr. Kelly. And I'll call for the ballots again in a moment. Mr. Bryant, go ahead.
Just a couple of quick things. I'll echo what Ms. Evancheck was saying. It's just a great thing for us to be able to go out into all the schools. I know all of the school board members do their best to get out as often as they can, but it's just, for us, it's just exciting to see all the good things that are going on out in the schools, and whether it's from Laurel Hill to Florosa and everywhere in between, we have a lot of great things going on. And I know, Superintendent, you've been doing a good job of tweeting and putting things on Facebook, and I saw Ms. Buchanan was here. She runs our Facebook page and all, so she does a great job. But I also would like to, say with archery, we also have a new sport out there, lacrosse. So after the Silver Sands event, I went over to Fort Walton Beach just to watch a lacrosse game, and it was really, really interesting. It's kind of soccer and hockey and all that kind of mixed together. Now, they were playing at Riggs Stadium, and it was foggy. I don't know how they saw that little ball, but they did. And unfortunately, Fort Walton didn't win that night, but it was really fun to go out there and watch them play. And I also would like to recognize one of our staff members. And, Vince is back there, Vince Wyndham. I just wanted to personally say thank you for all that you do. When we send in, when we get requests from schools for capital outlay projects, I've gotten in the habit of sending it straight to Vince, because chances are he's going to find it a little cheaper than what the principals or some of the other staff members might have out there. And, Vince is sitting back there next to Dr. Smith, and just want to say thank you for all that you do, sir.
Mr. Destin?
I just want to take one more opportunity to congratulate the Bruner Beta Club. The school did an outstanding job, from the administrators down to the students. Also, Fort Walton Beach High School's theater department has been invited to a very prestigious competition over spring break that I think only 6 or 7 high schools in the state have been invited to. So we want to wish them the best of luck. I think that'll cover it.
All right, Mr. Destin, thank you. All right, board members, so the last item of official business is to, if you'll pass your ballots this way. And then, just like Dr. Kelly said, then we'll pass them down, all the way down to Miss Mary. Coming your way. All right, and while we're doing that, is there any other business, board members? Superintendent?
No, sir.
Mr. Attorney? We're good?
We have a public comment section.
I always forget that one. I guess probably after 40 years having added that. Okay. Anything else from staff, though, while I'm still doing that? Okay. Is there any further public comment this evening? All right, seeing none and hearing no further business, we're done.